What's up, everybody? It is Coach Adam here from Decentralized Strength and Conditioning. Today, I'm going to walk you through the warm up I do for all my adult clients, or just clients that have no issue with being down on the ground and doing a warm up. A few pieces of equipment you'll need is some type of pad for the knees. You'll can also grab maybe some bow slides or some type of sliders. This would be optional. You can still do the stretch routine if you don't have those. And then you'll also need a resistance band that you can attach to some type of squat rack or to your door using a door stop. Just make sure that whatever you're using at the gym, if you're doing it at the gym, like some of those pull-up racks, you got to make sure they're screwed in so that when you do pull the strap, you're not pulling the whole rig down on top of you. So that's just a big safety thing I've seen before, and I've done that myself. So that's why I mentioned that. Just make sure that the object you're using is sturdy and it's not going to fall or break when you use the resistance bands for the stretching. Once we do the stretching, we're going to move on to a warm-up circuit. And for that, all you're going to need is a mini band, and then you're going to need some type of lawn resistance band as well. And this is the one with no handles. It's just one big loop. The first stretch we're going to do is the hip rotator stretch. I'm going to put the pad down on the ground. I'm going to put my right knee down on the pad. I'm going to pick my back leg up here, and I'm going to swivel the right foot in. Then I'm going to sit back. I should feel a nice stretch through the butt. Just going to focus on breathing throughout this. Then a way that I can make this a little bit harder, I can take that left hand and I can inch it up in front here. Then I'll feel a nice stretch all the way through that back leg, the hip flexor, the core muscles. I'm trying to hold this for about 20, 30 seconds on each side and just focusing on my breathing. Then occasionally I'll do that reach in front, which feels really great on the back, the lats, the obliques, here off on this opposite side. Okay, from here, we're going to switch sides. We're going to put the left leg, left knee on the pad, swivel the foot in, and then sit back. And I'm taking that right arm here and I'm reaching in front. I'm also really trying to drive that back knee down into the ground as well. Show you from a different angle. With this back knee here, I'm trying to press it into the ground a bit to get more of a stretch through that right side, in addition to working on the left hip, the back side of the hip. Okay, from here, we're going to get a hamstring stretch. We're going to flip around. We're going to take a seat on the pad. We're going to put our legs as wide as we can. And we're going to start by putting our hands between the legs, focusing on our breathing. So you should feel this probably a lot on the hamstrings, the bottom of the legs, the inside, the adductors. And you'll probably feel it quite a bit at the top of the butt here and the top or the low back. And that's all related to the hamstrings and the glutes all being tight, as well as the feet here, the calves. I mean, they're all these muscles are connected. We're going to go to the right leg now. We're just trying to reach to our foot. If you can't reach to your foot, just reach as far as you can. But if you can reach to your foot, what I like to do is actually grab my foot and then pull my ankle, or pull the foot towards my shin. And I'm trying to grab right in the middle of my foot to really get all those muscles that are involved with the calf and the hamstring. And then we're going to get the other side. If you can't grab your foot, no worries. All you have to do is just put the hands on the shin, or you could put them on the ground next to your leg. But over time, our goal is to try to get all the way down to the foot, then be able to grab the middle of the foot and then pull the toes towards your shin. Now get a really great stretch for your calf muscle. Something we can do if you struggle with going all the way to your foot and you want to get a little bit more of a calf soleus stretch, what you can do is grab the band, put it right around that middle of the shoe, and we can pull tight. And we'll get a nice stretch at the bottom of the leg here. So this would be great for people that can't reach their toes or have really limited flexibility. So you can do the same thing here on the other side. You just pull the band tight. But first try without the band. Then if you have a little bit extra time, you can grab the band and work on that. The next one we have here is butterfly stretch. We're going to put the feet together. We're trying to bring the feet as close as we can to our body. Then I'm trying to let those knees sink down on the ground. So you can add a little bit of your own body weight by putting your forearms and your elbows on the knees. And once again, we just want to make sure we are breathing. If you find that you can't breathe through the stretching, that means you're probably stretching too hard. We want to be able to relax and breathe throughout the stretching. We'll hold this about 20-30 seconds. And from here, we're going to do a really great adductor, hip flexor, glute stretch right here. So I'm going to grab the two sliders. You don't have to use sliders, but I find that's a little bit easier to get into. So what I'm going to do is put my knees on the slider here, and then I'm going to slowly start to bring my knees out like that. You can see let me rotate here for you. You can see my toes are curled into the ground, and then my knees are going out. I'm going to put my elbows down the ground, and then I'm going to push myself back onto the heels. We're just going to hold this for 20-30 seconds just in this position. And you can always come forwards for a second and then rock back again if you need to. And once we hold this exact position, we're going to take our right hand. I want you to try to bring it underneath your left arm. And what I'm trying to do here with my other hand is I'm trying to push the ground away a bit so I can really work on a lot of those core muscles, the lats, those hip flexors, which all make the low back and the middle of your back tight. And we're going to switch sides. I'm going to put the left hand underneath the right arm. Then I'm going to use that right arm to push the ground away, get a little bit deeper into the stretch. So about 20-30 seconds in each one of these positions with the right arm under and the left arm under. Then the last part of this stretch, we're going to put those toes flat. Then I'm going to sit up nice and tall. And it might not look like this. You might be way up here. But as you get more flexible, you'll be able to sit back. This stretch really works those hip flexor muscles, which are commonly tight for basically everybody. All right, from here, what we're going to do is the 90-90 stretch, so another hip stretch. What I'm going to do is make 90 degrees with my right leg. So it's going to make an L, and then my back leg is going to make an L as well. I'm going to put my hands on either side of that front leg, and I'm going to lean forwards. So this is a lot like that hip rotator stretch that we did at the beginning, where this front leg, we're working on the glutes on that leg. But then on this back leg, we're also really working on those adductor muscles. And then we're going to rotate, turn our body, and we're going to try to put our hands either behind our back like this, or we could try to put our hands on the ground in front. The goal is to turn towards this back foot and keep this knee down on the ground in front of you. So we don't want to see this. We want to see that knee as close to the ground as we can. Just breathing throughout. We hold this about 20, 30 seconds. And then we're going to switch sides. I put that right leg in front, that left leg behind, and I start by leaning over the front leg. The good thing about this stretch is that it's working both the internal rotators of the hip and the external rotators of the hip. So it's working the inside of it's working the thighs, the inside of the thighs, and it's also working those glutes and the oblique, the QL, all those muscles in the back side of the body. And we're going to put the hands either behind the butt, try to turn towards our back foot, or if you can bring the hand in front of the body, really turn into that back foot. And next thing we're going to do is grab the pad. We're going to do a quad stretch. And I'm going to show you the most advanced version that I do is we put the pad up against the wall. And then I put my foot up. I slide my knee down. And I'm going to sit up nice and tall. Now I have my foot completely flat against the wall. So my shoelaces are flat against the wall. And my knee is as close as I can get to the wall as well. And I'm just going to sit up nice and tall here. Get a nice stretch through the quad. About 20 seconds at this top position, and then at the end for a little bit of time, maybe an extra 10 seconds, you can lean forwards a little bit. I find that this one really helps to get a little bit more of the hip flexor muscles, as well as a little bit of the oblique. And we're going to switch legs. So all I do is I put the knees down on the ground. I put the left knee up and the foot up on the wall. And then I'll bring my right knee up. Then I'll sit up nice and tall. And I can lean forwards a little bit towards the end of the stretch. I want you to try to get at least 20 seconds where you're sitting up nice and tall. Then you can get about 10 seconds where you're leaning forwards a little bit. And from here, we're going to rotate over to our big band on attached to the rig or whatever object you're using. Just make sure it's secure. The first stretch we're going to do is a lat stretch. We're going to put our hand in the band through the loop, and then we grab it with a full grip. That's almost going to pull your sockets out of the joints a bit. So you're getting a little bit of that traction, as they call it. Then I'm just stepping back, and it's going to pull everything out here, get a nice stretch. Make this a little bit harder, I guess, a little bit harder, or to incorporate a little bit more of the lats. We put that leg behind. It's really going to stretch out the whole right side here, simply by putting that right leg back a bit. If you can't get all the way down on the ground, you can just stick that leg back a little bit. So you'd be able to stretch out that whole right side. Very effective stretch. Again, from here, we're going to get the left arm. Just start with both feet on the ground, using the squat position or squat stance. And then you can move that left leg behind you, and you're really going to feel that lat stretch out. Remember, that lat is connected to the oblique and the core, which is connected all the way down to the pelvis. Okay, from here, we're going to flip around. We're going to get they call a front rack stretch. We're going to put the band around our elbow, and then we're going to lean forwards. It's a really great stretch for the chest muscles here, the pec minor and the major. Hold about 20, 30 seconds, and then we switch sides. Alrighty, the last stretch I'm going to show you might be a little bit hard to see, but it's going to be a chest stretch, and I'm using the rack here, and I'm finding a rack that kind of looks like a doorway, because you could also do the stretch on a doorway as well in your house or the bathroom or wherever. And I'm putting my elbows, basically putting my elbows on the rack with my elbows low, and then we're also going to do with the elbows high. And this is a really great stretch for the chest muscles. So with the low elbow position, with my elbows lower, it's going to really stretch out the pec minor a little bit more. Another thing I'm going to get here too is some big head rolls, big neck circles. Not just works out the chest, but we're going to get the neck, the traps, the delts, the basically all the muscles that are in that shoulder joint, shoulder capsule. And then I'm going to do the stretch here with my elbows a little bit higher, so this will get more of the pec major, so the really beefy part of your chest, versus the top part near your collarbone, which would be the pec minor. So I always like to stay in this stretch a little bit longer because I really feel it in my right shoulder, and it really, really helps. So I like to do this a little bit longer. All right, so that is the stretching routine. From here, what you're going to do is you're going to come back down to the ground. We're going to go over a little bit of a warm-up circuit, an activation circuit that we do here, just to bring the body through its basic checklist like a pilot, to make sure that the muscles know what joints to move at the right time, basically. The first thing we're going to do here is work on the hip hinge pattern or the deadlift pattern. And I'm going to put the band around my foot here. right around the middle of the foot like before. So we're going to get a little bit of a calf stretch on this right leg here. And then we're going to bring this left leg up to the foot, and then we're going to bring it back down. And this is really going to help turn on the core muscle, the hip flexor, and make sure that they're all working in the right order. So if you're finding that this specific exercise is really tight or problematic for you, then you're probably going to have a whole bunch of issues if you do any type of deadlift or hip hinge exercise. Just keep that in mind. If you're doing this and you're really struggling, you're really going to struggle with any type of deadlift exercise. We're going to do the same thing here on the other side. I'm trying to breathe out when I lower that leg down. I bring it nice and slow all the way down to the ground. I'm trying to get about 8 to 10 reps here on each side, nice and slow. Then from here, we're going to keep both feet flat on the ground. We're going to get into some hip lifts. Just nice and slow. We're going to pause for a second at the top, squeeze the butt, and then back down. Make sure that our whole back is flat on the ground before we come back up. Once again, we're just doing about 8 reps here. And then this feels really good for me today, but sometimes when I do these hip lifts, I feel a little bit of tightness in my back. So if I feel that, then I know that I'm going to have to be super, super careful when I do any type of hip lift movement or anything in general where I'm moving faster. Because you're really going to be using those glutes a bit and the hamstrings. And if that's tight, you feel in the lower back, you might want to just be a little bit more cautious when you do those type of movements during the workout. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is band pull aparts for the shoulders and the upper body. So I'm going to start with my hands, my knuckles facing me. Then I'm going to try to pull the band straight across the chest. For this one, I only want you to do about 5 in each direction here. And we're going to do 5 diagonal, going over the right ear or the right shoulder. And then we're going to flip around. We're going to bring that left arm above the left shoulder. We're going to do about 5 there. And it's this diagonal position so that right hand is on the right side of the body. And then we're going to repeat that whole circuit again with the palms facing us. Pulling the band straight across the body, 5 reps. And then we have the right hand over the right shoulder, and that left hand is below the left hip. And then we switch, left hand on top, right hand by the pocket. I'm doing about 5, 8 reps, no more than that. And the last thing I didn't really mention here on this one is I have my feet up here as well. The reason is because it's going to help keep our back a little bit flatter rather than if I have my feet out here, I tend to arch that back. And we're trying to avoid that, so keep the knees bent for this exercise. Okay, from here, we're going to grab a mini band. We're going to put it around the toes, and we're going to work up a little bit of the hip flexors. All I'm doing is hugging that knee up to my chest with the resistance band. And then I'm going to switch sides. And I'm going to try to bring up my leg with just my knee as much as I can. And then I'm going to hug the knee up at the end of the movement here to get a little bit more of a stretch. By putting the band on the toes here, we're also getting a nice stretch and we're warming up those shin muscles as well. And so I'm going to try to bring the knee up as high as I can on my own and then hug it. Now, if you're doing this exercise and you feel a lot of tightness in right around your core, your belly button, the front of your hips or right in the low back, probably means that those hip flexors are pretty tight. And if you do any type of squat movement or anything where you're squatting down, sitting down, you're running, biking, that might cause some issues. So make sure that this exercise feels good before you try any squats. So throughout this warm-up, I'm kind of assessing myself to see how I feel for the day and what exercises I can do and what exercises I need to modify a little bit. All right, so that's it for the floor warm-up. I'm going to show you the next part, which is the walking stretches and the dynamic movements. All right, so the first stretch we got here is the knee hugs. We're just going to grab the knee, hug it up to our chest. What we can do is about 8 to 10 on each leg, or if you have some space, you could set up about 10 yards or walk in 10 yards for each of these exercises. So these would be the knee hugs, just trying to bring my knee nice and high up to the chest. Then the next one would be a leg cradle, where I'm bringing my leg up, my knee up, then I'm swiveling that ankle in, just like that hip rotator stretch we did. So once again, for this stretch, I bring that knee up, one hand on the outside of the knee, other hand on the shin, and I bring that ankle in, and then I'm pulling up at the same time. Okay. So about 8 to 10, about 4 on each side. If you're doing it in place, but if you're moving, we just go about 10 yards. The next one we have here is the quad stretch. We're just going to grab the ankle, and we're going to try to pinch those knees together. Once again, about 4 to 5 on each leg, which would be about 8 to 10 total, or just about 10 yards if you have the turf space. And then from here, we're going to get a hamstring stretch, opposed to retro stretch or reverse retro lunge. So all I'm going to do is basically pick up my toe, and it's going to strain out this leg. I'm going to sit back, and I'm going to reach down for the toe here and get a nice stretch all the way through the back side. Sit back on the other leg, pick that toe up. Then I'm just alternating left side here and right side. About 8 to 10 total, or you can do it moving for about 10 yards. The next stretch we have is the lateral lunges or lateral stretch. I'm just going to put my feet wide, and I'm going to do this mostly in place. Just lean into the right side, lean into the left. Okay, from here, we're going to get into some more dynamic movements. We're going to start with some marches. We're bringing our knees up. We're pumping the arm, so opposite knee, opposite arm is up. So make sure you get that off position. So we're going to do some forward marches for about 10 yards, and then we're going to do some sideways marches. So I do about 5 yards, and I'm going to switch, face the other way. So these dynamic movements, what we can do if you have a limited space is we're just going to try to do as much movement as we can in that space. So let's say you only had about half this turf space to do it. That's fine. We're just going to go up to here. Then you're going to turn around and come back. We still want to be moving a little bit during the dynamic movement. So find, even if it's a few feet of space, and all you can do is go sideways a little bit, 3 steps, and then come back 3 steps. That's still fine. We're trying to get that side to side marches. Okay, we're trying to get these side to side marches here, both left side and right side, as well as the forward marches. Okay, from here, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to get some butt kicks. We're going to bring the knees, not the knees up. We're basically just bringing the heel up and trying to kick the butt a little bit. So from the backside view here. Now you could do this one standing in place as well, about 8 to 10 reps total. And then from here, we're going to get some straight leg snap downs. So continuing to warm up the hamstrings, just bringing my foot up slightly and then snapping it down. This is really going to warm up the feet, warm up the hamstrings, the glutes. If you were doing it in place, it would just be right leg, then left leg. It doesn't matter how high we get it. It really matters about how intense we're trying to snap it down. So we're working on trying to get that dog crap or that gum off your shoe when we do this exercise. From here, we're going to get into a side shuffle or a sideways walk. I'm going to do the same thing here on the way back, where I'm focusing more on that right leg versus when I was coming to the camera, I was focusing more with that left leg. And from the side shuffles or sideways walk, we're going to go into a walk-in karaoke where I'm walking in front, left leg is coming in front of the body, then left leg is coming behind. Left in front, left behind. Left in front, then left behind, and then right foot in front, right foot behind. You want to make sure that we're getting both that right foot in front and behind, and then that left foot in front and behind. Just make sure you're facing the same direction for both directions on the side shuffle and the karaoke. Okay, the last thing we're going to do here is a little bit of back pedal. So we're going to start with pushing the ground away. I'm keeping my nose over the toes, just like your traditional, let's say, D-back or defensive position in sports. Then the other one we have is a backwards walk with a big reach. So I'm really trying to almost run backwards here. So that would be the basically the conclusion of the warm-up. So we started with some floor stretches, then we went to an activation circuit with the mini bands, and then we went to some walk-in stretches, and then we did more of a dynamic warm-up.